Oh hey, welcome to another edition of hand-laid tracks and 3D printed trains with Socrates. Today we're looking at the second of two hoppers. I saw these two hoppers at Amsterdam Westport and decided to make my own version of it. So this is essentially what it looked like. It's about a 40 foot and I made it in a 65 foot as well. A little while ago I was riding my bike past Amsterdam's Westport freight terminal and I saw these two freight cars sitting next to each other on the tracks there, sitting there. Took some pictures, made some videos, or made some designs. A little while later, boom! Gondolas! Made some copper or some coal loads for them, a bunch of different shapes of it. And the first version I put on Cults for free. So if you want to try out my designs, you can try these out yourself, see what you think of them. I also added a little basic set of plastic wheels for them, so you can print them out for static design or for a kid to play with. And they have a little articulated hinge in the middle. It's all prints as one piece. They do snap apart. I don't know how many times they go back apart and together again, because it's just a little, basically a little knob in there. But they do come apart, so you can use this as a static model if you want to just leave them on the shelf, or if you have a kid who's a little older, because they're a little bit, they do come apart basically. The wheels come apart like that. So if you play with it too rough, you're going to find yourself with a derailed bunch of trains, which is also kind of fun. So you get it on Cults. Check it out yourself. Two versions are basically the same, similar, and they look different when they're, it's nice to have variation in your loads and the shapes of the cars when it moves. It makes the whole thing much more interesting. So I add a little flange around the base to help it stick to the bed. They usually pull off pretty easily, but you can crease it a little bit to help pull it off. And I use automatic supports inside. I have little tweezers that I usually go ahead and break apart the insides, and they usually pull out fairly easily. And I went ahead and I printed a set of hinged wheels, so you can use it for a child's toy or use it as a static display. And they do in fact pull apart and go back together. I don't know how many times they're going to come apart and go back together, but at the very least they do come apart and go back together at least a few times. And if not, of course, you can use your microtrains couplers on it. They're designed for that. And this is basically one of the two gondolas I saw in Westport, Amsterdam. This one's going to be for free, the other one's not. And they're very similar but different, and a bunch of different loads in them to make the different loads look interesting as well, because your eyes can see it if they're identical. So I'd make a bunch of different loads for it as well. Microtrains couplers go on the bottom if you want to use microtrains couplers, and they have two pins, a big and a small. Usually one of the two pins works. So you can use it as a child's toy, and as you get older you can play with it as a old person's toy on a model train set on an N-scale layout. If you need to clean the edges up, usually use a little scraping edge tool, a deburring tool, and clean the edges off, trying to make it fit the best I possibly can. So that's the second of the two gondolas, sold in Westport, kids version with plastic wheels, microtrains couplers, and scale version. Get them on Cults, print them yourself. Have a good day. Hand-laid tracks doesn't have a theme song, doesn't have a theme song, doesn't have a theme song. Hand-laid tracks, it doesn't have a theme song. Hand-laid tracks, it doesn't have a theme song, doesn't have a theme song, doesn't have a theme song. Hand-laid tracks, it still doesn't have a theme song.